Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the John Owen Movie Channel. All things movies, all the time. And today's video is going to be my top 10 favorite movies of the 2010s. As you know, today is New Year's Day, is New Year's of the year 2020. So, I like to reflect and look back on things that happened in my life. And, the 2010s was a really huge decade for me, man. I grew up. I was 8 when I started this decade. Now I'm 18. I'm about to go to college, about to graduate high school. A lot of things have changed in this time period. Met some of the greatest friends in my entire life. I've grown really close with my family, even closer than I was. But, I really love my guys so much. And, outside of growing up and learning about myself and who I wanted to be in this world, a big part of what shaped me to be who I am today is movies. Obviously, I'm sitting here with a movie channel talking to you about movies. And so I was just looking back and I was thinking, what movies shaped me this decade, shaped me into the person I am today. And, that's what I consider my favorite movies of this decade. So, all these movies are really important to me because I don't, just because I really like them, obviously, that's why they're on here, but they help me, you know, become the person I am today throughout this decade. And I can't thank them. And that's what movies are for, and other forms of literature, or not literature, but, media or whatever, is just to help us learn lessons that we can use in the real world. So, without being too philosophical, because that's not what you came here to listen to, let's get on with the video. So, starting off at number 10 of my favorite movies of the 2010s is Zootopia. So, this was my favorite Disney movie that came out this decade for sure, man. I think it's probably one of the more underrated of the Disney titles. This movie, I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but this movie is really good. The design of all the animals is really good. I really love Nick and Judy and their whole relationship and stuff, and just the very concept of this movie of animals living in the cities and predator versus prey. Everything like that. It teaches us some lessons about not judging a book by its cover. Some really basic stuff, but in a really unique way. And this movie is funny, and I really love. I don't. And if I could talk, that might help. And the plot twist at the end, where it was actually Bellwether that was pulling the strings the whole time, making the predators turn crazy or whatever, the whole time was shocking. And this scene where the tiger jumps out scares the crap out of me. Every time I watch it, I know it's coming, and I still jump. Number 8, we have Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This movie introduced a lot of characters that I really hold dear to me. Ray, or not Ray. Yes, Ray. I do like Ray a lot, but Kylo Ren and Finn and Ray, and starting on our stories, and it brought the mystique of the original trilogy back into the mainframe media. The mystique of just the whole story just back, and this movie's really enjoyable to watch. Just sit there and watch it. It's beautiful to watch because the shots and the cinematography and the editing are really tight and good. The characters they introduce I really like, but they still respect the old ones like Leia and Han, especially in this movie. And the Han death scene is really touching. And this movie started down, the new trilogy, so that's always really exciting. And it's like a baby. Everyone loves babies. It's something new, it's something fresh. So, and I like just to pop this movie in, when I'm bored or whatever. Number 8, we have Spider-Man: Far From Home. By far my favorite Spider-Man movie, and that's saying a lot because there are a lot of great Spider-Man movies out there. Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man, Homecoming. All of these are great Spider-Man titles, and for this one to rise above all of them really is a testament of the excellency of this movie. I talked about this movie already a little bit in my top 2019 movie, so I'm not going to dwell on it too long, but I'm going to repeat the main points. The actions. This movie is a lot of different things. It's a team romance. It's a comedy. It's a superhero blockbuster action adventure. It gives you a little taste of everything you could ever want. I obviously think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man, and watching him at his peak in this movie is amazing to watch. His ascension into truly weaning himself off of the need for Tony Stark and him dealing with that traumatizing loss is really really awesome to watch. And I love Mysterio as a villain, man. He is definitely a top 5 MCU villain. Maybe you can slide him into the top 3. I don't know. That's kind of edgy water, but excellent and well done. Just a fantastic movie from top to bottom. Number 7, we have Jurassic World. If you don't know this, the original Jurassic Park in 1993 is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I mean, I grew up on that movie, man. Just the nostalgia just flows through me all the time, every time I watch it. And its 2 sequels are okay, but, disappointing for sure. So when we got kind of the soft reboot sequel Jurassic World movie, I was really excited because I wanted something really, really good and awesome. And man, did I get it. This movie is ridiculous, and its concepts for sure, man. A functional park, trained raptors, a hybrid dinosaur. This is insane, man. And it's good. It's something new. It's something, yeah, sure, they're stuck on the island, but it's a functional park where it's not supposed to go wrong. So there's a lot of people on the island, and for me, it recaptured the energy of the first Jurassic Park movie. And so, that's a lot. That's saying a lot because the 2 sequels right after Jurassic Park did not do that. So for this movie to be able to do that is really impressive for me. And I love Owen Grady, and Claire kind of grew on me throughout the movie. I just love Chris Pratt. So anything he's in, I'm down for. And he's just so good in these type of action roles. And I just love Jurassic World because it reminded me of Jurassic Park. So boom. And number 6, we have the Avengers. This was the movie that made people realize the MCU is gonna work. This whole every movie is connected in the same universe, and every movie affects every other movie was not a foolproof concept when this movie came out. It was not. And I love this movie because it showed that this thing's going to work. That these connected storylines are all going to mesh into something great. And obviously this movie is great, but the thing I like the most about this movie is there are some shots where, yeah, this movie looks like it has a $150 million budget. It is crazy. It looks awesome. And then there are some scenes, like in the helicarrier, where it looks like they had a $10 budget on some low rating comedy show. I mean, it is just, I just find that so funny to me. And it just makes this movie feel so, for as big scale as it is, it makes it feel intimate and personal. So I really love that about this movie. Number 5, we have Captain America Civil War. Point blank period, this is the movie that made me fall in love with the MCU. Before I watched Civil War, I had seen actually all 3 Captain America movies, 2 of the Iron Mans, and the Avengers. This one right here. Not that one. This one. And then I went to go watch Civil War with my friends, and that's when I realized there's so much more going on. And I had to dive into it because I was so interested and intrigued by it. And that's when I fell in love with the MCU and found my favorite movie franchise. And I have to thank this movie for that. Obviously the conflict between Tony and Steve is so magnetizing and hypnotizing to watch, man. And it has great action sequence, the airport battle, the last battle between Tony and Steve. And it gives us Black Panther and Spider-Man introductions. Basically, this movie was kind of rang the bell in my head that there's a lot going on here. So thank you, Captain America Civil War, for being the access point for me to fall in love with the MCU. Number 4, we have Thor Ragnarok. I mean, this movie, man, it's my top 3 MCU movies, which is saying a lot. And this is just almost to me a perfect movie. Almost. It's very close. The comedy is outrageously funny. The action is really good. The development of Thor and kind of his soft reboot in this movie almost is really awesome. And this movie made me fall in love with Thor. You're going to see a common theme that these movies made me fall in love with something. And that's why they are on this list. So Ragnarok did that for Thor and allowed him to ascend to my favorite movie character status. And, I have this movie to thank for that. And number 3, we have Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. At first, I really wasn't sure where I was going to put this movie. But then, you know what? After thinking about it, like, this movie is bonkers. Now, I'm not going to dwell on it because I've talked about it twice in the past 2 videos. This movie is just an excellent ending to the Skywalker saga, and I love Star Wars, man. So to have this as a satisfying ending, it has to go it has to go really high up on the list. If you want more detail, make sure to go watch my Rise of Skywalker review video. Anyways, at number 2, we have Avengers Infinity War. At one point, this was my favorite movie of all time until the next movie surpassed it. I'm sure you can guess what it was or what it's going to be. But as far as a movie going, watching this movie in the theaters for the first time, it was almost an unmatched experience. It was mystical. I forgot I was there. I was simply just watching the movie, and that's because this movie is a 2.5-hour action blitz, man. It is all gas, no brakes. And I can still remember when Thor drops down to Wakanda, it just happens, man. It's just, and he's there. I jumped out of my theater seat and I was sitting down. How do you jump off your butt? I did it. I don't know how, but I freaking did it because it was so awesome and so amazing. And this movie gave us bearded nomad Cap, man. Like, thank you. And this is the first time that I cried in a movie theater because Peter Parker died, and I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. That broke my heart, man. I just love Infinity War. And number 1, you can probably guess it, is Avengers Endgame. I mean, what more can I say about this movie that I haven't already said before? As the ending to the Infinity Saga, which has, 4 other movies on this, like 5 out of the 10 are part of the Infinity Saga. I actually don't know if Spider-Man Far From Home counts, so if it does count 6, if it doesn't 5, but regardless, over half of the movies on this list are part of this Infinity Saga, and for Endgame just to perfectly stick the landing with great character arcs and with finishing great character arcs and leaving the door open with exciting moments, is just, they stuck the landing, man, and there's nothing better than Endgame. And that's why I love Avengers Endgame so much. And so that was my top 10 favorite movies of the decade. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video and leave your thoughts or video suggestions in the comments below and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks.